Branson, Paul McKenna, Brian Tracy, to name a few. Here with us today is the one and only Andy Harrington.
Hey, it's a pleasure. Thanks, Candice. That's a very nice introduction. Thank you so very, very much. Hey, folks, Andy Harrington here. I'm super looking forward to working with you today. I hope you enjoyed Les Brown there. It's super to have Les with us because, he just is so engaging. Literally, his content is so transformative because he has the ability to shift how people feel. And that is a key to all things in relation to influence, but also living an amazing and a great life. So, hi, I'm going to get straight in here with my presentation. I first want to ask you this question. Where are you now? So right now, if you are currently a business owner, an entrepreneur, a coach, a consultant, a trainer, a mentor, in essence, somebody who sells a service. If right now you sell a service, then services are not easy to sell compared to products. And the reason for that is because services are invisible. You cannot see a service. In fact, a service is, in essence, you are in essence promising to solve somebody's problem. So you're in essence selling a promise. So how do you do it? How do you go about selling a service? Because you can't do it in a shop, you can't do it in an online store. So the way that we sell a service is through a presentation. And what I'm keen to do is talk to you today about how you can use one single presentation, that once you've crafted and created it, once you learn how to prepare and present it, it will never have to change. And it will make you more than enough sales. It will draw to you investment. It will get you the results that you need by working with people. So let's get cracking. So where are you right now? Well, right now, most people are working too much one-to-one. And where do you want to be? Well, you want to be working with groups. Right now, you're probably having to spend a lot of time hunting for new clients when in reality, you want an online presentation that attracts clients to come to you. Perhaps you're not charging enough for what you do. Because in essence, if you haven't got a steady stream of leads coming in, then most people will end up dropping their price. And what you need to be doing is charging an expert fee for what you do. And probably right now, there's no consistency in your client acquisition. And what you want is a waiting list of clients wanting to work with you. And probably you're doing work you don't really enjoy. And what you really want to be doing is only doing the work that you're gifted to do. And probably you're not getting paid what you're really worth. But what you now want to do is have a business that's profitable, that produce dividends for you. All right. So let's keep going. So there are actually two types of presentation that you need. You need a short presentation that gets leads and a longer presentation that gets sales. So the short presentation we seen on social media. It typically goes between 3 to maybe 5 minutes. And then you have a longer form presentation that goes between 60 to maybe 120 minutes. And that presentation is designed to get you sales. Now, no matter what the style of presentation, shorter, as in 3 minutes, or 60 to 90 to 2 hours, then there's a style of presentation that works. And if you keep on using just old, outdated ideas for how you go about presenting, here's one that makes me laugh all the time, which is tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them, which actually translates to tell them how you're going to bore them, and then tell them how you bored them. So we can't do that because here's why. In today's presentation arenas, which are often online presentations and not always in person, you don't have a captive audience, which means that you have to captivate the audience almost immediately. So here's the news. We are all in the business of change. We're all in the business of change. So your presentation must change thinking. And here's the thinking it must change to. The prospect, typically, if they are in an inferior mindset, the prospect typically believes that they can't achieve the result that they want. And if they have a superior mindset, they have the belief that they can achieve the result, but without you. So either way, if they stay in inferior mindset or in superior mindset, well, they're not going to want to buy. They're not going to want to implement your advice. What needs to happen is they need to believe they can achieve the result that they want, but they need you to achieve it. We call that the sweet spot. So when you're doing a presentation, you're doing it because you want to get the client into that sweet spot. All right. Now, here's the news. Look, when your client needs you, the reason they need you is because they need to solve a problem. They've got a problem they want to solve, and they're coming to you as an expert, hoping that you can solve their problem. However, the reason they have the problem in the first place is because they've got a pattern of either inaction, reaction, protraction, or distraction. And what we've got to get them to do instead is to take the right action. And the right action is a commitment to change using your service. So what your presentation has to do, it has to be designed, not just to teach, but primarily to transform. Specifically, we have to transform them from a pattern of either inaction, reaction, protraction, or distraction. We've got to break that pattern during our presentation, so at least temporarily they get into right action and make a commitment using your service to change, to improve, to implement something new. Does that make sense? Now, here's the news. The truth is going to be this, that you, as a human being, will also have a tendency towards one or more of those same patterns. Let's talk about them. A pattern of inaction. That's putting things off, right? Needing to do stuff, putting off. Reaction, being emotionally hooked by the problem. Protraction, taking action, but just doing it so slowly and protracting things out because of analysis giving paralysis. Or distraction, in essence, focusing on too many things rather than the one thing you need to do that's going to create some change. So why is the question? Why do people not always take the right action? Is it because they don't know what the right action is? Maybe. But most of the time, it's because they're afraid of taking the right action. Most people are more afraid of the solution than they are of the problem, which means that you, as a presenter, if you're going to help people to overcome some kind of challenge in their personal or professional life, then you have to get them to a place where you've broken their pattern of inaction, reaction, protraction, or distraction, and we're able to get them beyond their fear to take the right action, which is a commitment to change, which means they have to begin to change. So which of those four actions are you probably addicted to? What is your pattern? As in, when you feel a bit low, when you're outside your comfort zone, what is your typical pattern of behavior? Is it inaction? Is it reaction? As in, are you reacting? Do you get kind of emotionally reacted to a problem? Do you tend to just protract things out? Or distraction. So protraction means that you just take longer to do things than it really takes. This is someone who like overthinks things. So protraction is a habit of overthinking, someone who has perfection issues. Does that make sense? So tell me right now, just type into the chat there, which of those patterns you think you fall into. Inaction, reaction, protraction, or distraction. Which one of those do you think you typically fall into? And yeah, it's good to see there's a quite wide range here. And part of being, and this is important, I want to say this out loud. So as you keep typing those answers in, here's a reason why I'm asking this question. Because if you have one of those 4 patterns of inaction, reaction, protraction, or distraction, then you cannot take somebody to a place where you have never been. Meaning, we have to transform the messenger within before you can transform other people. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Transform the messenger within. Because if you're carrying baggage, if you are carrying around your own coping mechanisms when you are outside your comfort zone, then yeah, exactly, you are going to ultimately disempower other people. I like what Maureen Bobby Guy says there, that it depends on the situation. That is true, because human beings are diverse, which means that your coping mechanism, either inaction, reaction, protraction, or distraction, is context dependent as well. Good to know. All right, let's move on. All right, so it's important to know that to transform others, you must first transform, of course, yourself. I have a program. It's called Transform the Messenger Within. It's actually valued at 1795. So I hope you are paying attention, because one of you right now, one of you in a moment is going to win this particular event. I have a 2-day live and virtual event called Transform the Messenger Within. And this 2-day event is where I'm going to help you discover all of the patterns that are holding you back from really serving in a bigger, better, and bolder way. Having done this myself, gone from someone who had pretty much no qualifications when I left school to starting an organization that turned over more than £50 million, I can tell you that the stuff contained within the modern mind management techniques that we'll go through for these 2 days are astounding. And it will help you not only, importantly, you'll be ready to serve in a bigger, better, and bolder way, and have your service come through you rather than come from you. All right, so transform the messenger in. So the question you guys are going to answer, and what you're going to do is you're going to type. By the way, this event is live and virtual. It's in a high-end studio. That's actually the studio you can see right there on my image. And so it's going to be at a time where this audience, even if in the US, better do it, going to start midday UK time, which is, like 8 o'clock in the morning in the US. So you'll be able to do this no problem. But wherever you are in the world, the time will suit. We've got a great timings for you that works for everybody here. So I'm going to ask a question in a minute, and you're going to type the answer into the chat. And then we are going to just select one person at random from all the correct answers. And then the team will reach out to you and we'll give you all the details probably on Monday, I suspect, by the time we've got around to giving you all the details. So here we are. So the question, get ready to type it in. You don't have to be the first person, but you do have to type it in the time frame. And you do have to have the question correct. And so the question is, what are the 4 action addictions? What are all 4 action addictions? So the answers are now coming in. So type them away into the box. Yep, there's already, I can see some correct answers. You need all the answers, all of the answers, please. There's all 4 in your answer. So you need all 4 answers in your answer, if that makes sense, right? And then we're going to pick somebody out in a minute. So what are the 4 action addictions that I quoted earlier? Yeah, lots of right answers in here. This is very good. Okay, can we just scroll back up a bit? I think we had a name there that I just wanted to go back to. Just keep scrolling back there for me. Keep going. Keep scrolling back. Okay, let's stop there. Stop there. Okay, that's good. So we're going to go with Hanley. Hanley Lloyd, you are the winner. Wow, Hanley Lloyd, congratulations, well done. You have just won a prize that's getting on for nearly $2,000 today. So that's going to be an amazing experience. So we'll be sending you all the details sometime in the next couple of days. We've got your details now. We'll make sure that all happens. Let's say a big congratulations. Well done to Hanley Lloyd. I've got your name down here, so all is well. All right, now, by the way, keep paying attention because I've got 2 more big giveaways during my presentation for you. Okay? So stay focused, keep making notes, guys, because there is going to be some other questions coming up as well. Okay, cool. All right, let's keep going. So there we are. And by the way, there were all the answers, just in case you missed them. There they were: inaction, reaction, protraction, and distraction. All right, let's keep going. All right, so I can tell you that I wasn't always a speaker. My journey began in a court of law, when at that time my partner was giving evidence in a trial about something that happened to her when she was much, much younger. And I can remember, like, the accused at the back of the room, and I remember her speaking up and speaking out. Now, here's the truth. We won the case. But my partner, she broke down emotionally afterwards, became highly depressed, because giving evidence to protect the accused was pretty much every member of her family, actually including her own mum as well. So you can imagine how difficult that was. And so afterwards, she kind of broke down. I didn't know what to do. For days on end, she was just completely lost. I didn't know what to do. And she was almost like staring up at the ceiling, non-compos mentis. And I really thought that, winning the case would solve things for us. But even though we won the case, it didn't help. And so I came home late one night, wasn't sleeping too good. And I just didn't know what to do. And so out of desperation, I rang around the next day, and I ended up checking her into a private hospital. She was in there 6 weeks. It wasn't working. She was trashing her room at a regular basis. She was, smashing things, smoking, and I was like freaking out. I didn't know what to do. So I came home late one night, switched on the television to try to find something to fall asleep to, and I came across an infomercial from somebody who you probably know, Anthony Robbins. I'm sure you know who Tony Robbins is. And he was selling a product called Get the Edge. I called the company up, and the lady convinced me on the phone that actually what we ought to do is actually come and see Tony live. And so we, against all medical advice, I flew my wife out to Florida, to the Orange County Convention Center, to go and see Tony Robbins live. And as luck would have it, he ended up working with a one-on-one at the front of the room to do a live intervention. And he changed her life. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, this is amazing. I want to be able to do something like this. This is incredible. But another voice went off and said, Andy, you can't be like Tony Robbins. I mean, look at him. Look at him. He's a giant. Look at you. I mean, like, his teeth are bigger than you. And I just didn't do anything with the idea. It was just too big of an idea. And then, because we'd already purchased another seminar with Tony Robbins, 6 months later, I find myself in an intervention myself with Tony Robbins. And I'm staring into his eyes. I'm just so grateful for everything he's done. I started weeping. And then he started weeping. And we had a moment I'll never forget. And in that moment, I made my life-changing decision. I don't know how I was going to do it, but I was going to find a way. And so I started out on this journey to become a presenter and a speaker. I didn't even know what my subject matter was going to be at the time. I was just going to talk on mindset and motivation. And so that's what I did. And I started out in very small meeting rooms. And then those meeting rooms got a little bit bigger. Started presenting in London. And then I presented in giant arenas. This is the London O2 Arena. This is in 2009. And then those arenas got even bigger. I actually present alongside Tony Robbins. That was actually in London as well. And then in Amsterdam and in Dubai with Robert Kiyosaki, and Poland again with Tony Robbins, in South Africa, and with actually Les Brown, and also with Sir Richard Branson and Nick Vujicic. That's my daughter on my arms there, Amelia. She's a bit older now. She's 11 now. And also in places like India as well, into giant arenas of 1,700 people, 17,000 people. And now I love teaching people how to pitch for profit. And that is what I'm going to be teaching you. I'm going to teach you today how to pitch for profit. How do you authentically go about giving a presentation in a way that makes people want to take the logical next step to work with you? And here's an example. This guy's name's Paul Preston, and he had a speech impediment, he had a lisp. In fact, he came to me and he said, Andy, I don't think I can be a speaker because I've got a lisp. I hate the sound of my voice. I said, well, Paul, why would you want to sound like everybody else anyway? Why try to fit in when you're born to stand out? And that's key. All of us try to fit in. But the truth is, we're actually born to stand out. And he was actually a cleaner at the time on $12 an hour, cleaning toilets literally for $12 an hour. But we got him into the program. He started learning how to present and speak, started out small. And then 2 years later, he's speaking alongside Lisa Nichols of The Secret in Dubai, alongside other great speakers. Some of those are even actually presenting in this particular event as well. And it's just incredible to see the growth of somebody who's willing to take action and willing to follow their dreams. So there he is, actually presenting in Dubai, making about 60, 70,000 in just one single presentation. And actually now he's an award-winning speaker. I actually give out 26 different awards every single year. Would you like to become an award-winning speaker? Because I give out international awards every single year as I'm the founder of the Professional Speakers Academy. Just say yes in the chat if you would love to be able to say I'm an award-winning entrepreneur, an award-winning speaker. Of course, because it's great. It's all positioning as well, isn't it? Because it helps in your videos, all your email sign-offs that you're an award-winning this, that, and the other. So it's good. Okay, because there's going to be some opportunities for that later today as well. Here's another good example. By the way, do you think we need more women speakers as well? I'm kind of curious. Just give me a hell yes in the chat if you think we need more female voices, really leading voices, right? I'm on a big mission to find more great female speakers. Because for too long, the speaking industry has been dominated by men, and men tend to mess things up if we end up doing them for too long ourselves. You need balance, right? You need balanced message. So hopefully, you'd like to be part of that. I'd certainly love to be part of your journey to help you to break through in a bigger, better, and bolder way as well. So that was Caroline. So you can see there, Caroline, her biggest payday was $7,000, and she was unsure of her niche. She thought she'd need to change her niche. Her niche was she wanted to help salon owners, beauty and hairdressing salon owners, to better run their business. She thought her thing was too niched. I said, no, it isn't. Absolutely isn't. It's nothing. The reason you're only making 7,000 is because your presentation isn't good enough. So we worked on a presentation, and the next time she presented after I mentored and trained her, then she went to an $82,000 day. So who would like to have an $82,000 day? Just give me a number 10 in the chat. Just type 10, number 10 in the chat if you'd like to have an $82,000 day. Look, honestly, look, if you guys are, if you want to just learn a standard sort of storytelling or standard sort of train the trainer type program, then you don't need me. But if you want to learn to take your knowledge and your know-how, your passion, turn it into a profit, if you want to learn how to create a business out of something you're already good at by just sharing the advice you already have inside of you, and to make 10 times the income of Mr. and Mrs. Average, boy, do I have some training and teaching for you, which I'm going to get right into in just the next few moments. So stick with me, guys. I hope you're enjoying it. If you're enjoying it, just say amazing, something like that. If you're enjoying the presentation so far, just give all speakers, I love a bit of feedback, because I can't see you. I can't read the audience so easily because I can't see you. So if you do, let me know that you're there. And if you spontaneously love something I'm sharing with you, just let me know throughout so I know that you're there. If you're enjoying it, do let me know. In a normal environment, you'd smile or nod or raise a hand or whatever, but I can't see you, so I'd love to know that you're there. So thank you, everybody. I do appreciate the love very much. Thank you so much. All right, so here's the question. What did I teach them? What did I teach Paul, and what did I teach Caroline? How did I get them to those big numbers? All right, so I taught them that just like baking a cake, a presentation has ingredients and an order and sequence in which to mix those ingredients. So here are the magical ingredients to mix up an amazing 60, 90 to 120-minute presentation that is called a serve and sell presentation. So serve and sell, keep that name in your head. My system is called the Serve and Sell Speaker System. It's about serving people, but also selling them on a logical next step to work with you, to take you on, to get the result that they ultimately need. All right, so here is the ingredients. So let's look at the top right-hand corner where it says instigate. Be engaging from the outset. Here's what I see. I see far too many presentations that take too long to get going, and too many presenters take too long to warm up. And because you don't have a captive audience, that's going to cost you, especially if you've paid to get the audience to watch that presentation through advertising. If you lose people in the first few minutes, it's going to be costly. Okay, next, instruct. Now, to instruct your audience, you need to give them a solution framework. A solution framework. You cannot just have bullet points. Bullet points are for guns and to-do lists. Steve Jobs never used a bullet point in his presentation once, and neither should you. People are highly visual. So you need to give them a map. You need to give them a model. You need to give them a framework, a recipe. And you are looking at mine. So you are right now looking at my unique branded solution. The whole thing that you're looking at right there is a unique branded solution. It's a model. It's a framework. We'll come back to that in a minute. Next, impact. You have to be a real presence on the platform, whether digital, as we are today, or physical. You've got to be a real presence. And here's the key. You've got to get into a state of flow. You have to get into a state of flow. If you cannot get into a state of flow, you can't get the content flowing through you. It cannot come from you. It has to come through you. Meaning that ultimately the content is coming through you from another place. Not from you, but through you. We'll talk about that in a minute. Then on the bottom left-hand corner, we have inspire. This is about moving people emotionally, primarily through story. And there are 3 types of story that you need. We'll come back to those shortly. Next, impart. imparting wisdom, teaching, but also transforming. Remember I said early in my presentation that you cannot just teach people what to do. You've got to also transform their thinking, because thinking changes behavior. So if you want to change the actions, you have to change the thought process that happens before the actions. So when you're teaching, you must also be transforming. We have a system for that. We're going to show you how to do it shortly. And finally, you want to be inviting people to take a logical next step with you. And that, of course, is to sell in, therefore, an authentic way. So let's dive into this. So the unique branded solution also answers the question for you, what am I going to sell? If you don't know what you're selling, I'm now going to be telling you. You are selling a solution to a problem. You sell a solution to a problem. But that solution to the problem cannot be something they cannot see. You must be able to demonstrate that you have a process that solves their problem. You must demonstrate you've got a map of the journey from pain to gain. You must demonstrate you have the recipe that they need to implement to become healthier or to grow their sales. You can't just have them blindly trust you. You have to be able to show them. Let's have a look at a few examples. So what you're selling is an implementation of a solution. Here is what I call a unique branded solution. And once you have one of these, you have something to sell. So here's an example you're already familiar with. I'm sure you've heard of Stephen Covey and his 7 habits of highly effective people. So Stephen, that what you're looking at there, that's his recipe. That is his framework. That is his map, if you will. And it's also his own intellectual property. Now, I want you to remember that, intellectual property. Why have I made a big thing about that? Here's why. Because assets, money follows assets. So what that means is that if you don't have any assets, then you're having to work hard for money. So instead, you want to craft and create assets that then work hard for you. So we think of assets as like a property, stock, shares, commodities. But the biggest asset of the information age is intellectual property. And where is yours right now? Where is your intellectual property? Well, I'll tell you where it is. It's right here between your ears. But you have not extracted it and turned it into a model or a framework like Stephen Covey did. And here's the point. This also gives you legacy, because Stephen Covey's no longer with us. He died in a cycling accident some time ago. But his model has outlived him, and the asset is still generating money for him and his family because he crafted and created it. Does that make sense? So we're going to craft and create yours. Here's some other examples. Maslow, hierarchy of needs, been around since the Second World War. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. Remember his cash flow quadrant. Again, it is a model. It's a simplified framework. Now, here's some examples of people that you don't necessarily know. So the gentleman in the picture there, the picture behind actually would demonstrate some kind of growth and journey that we can't see here. Because Mark here, Mark Bryant, he was given 6 months to live over 6 years ago. And he healed himself from the inside out of a terminal cancer. And now he teaches other people how to do exactly the same. And that's his model and framework of how he did it and how he teaches other people to do exactly the same. This is Fiona Chalice. We can see Fiona's model there on the left-hand side. On the outer rim, they all begin with P. Can you see that? There's a reason for that. Your framework has to be clever. It has to be sticky. You can't just stick a whole load of bullet points together. So she's got a two-hour presentation she does for free. She's got a main offer for just short of $1,000. And she has an elite offer that's $10,000. Now, think about that for a moment. If you've got a service that is, in essence, the service she delivers is in essence, that framework. So that framework on the left-hand side in colors, in essence, when people buy her main offer or elite offer, it is that particular framework that she's helping them to implement into their business. Does that make sense? She gets paid $1,000 for the opening offer, and she gets $10,000 for the elite offer. So look, you only need 10 clients paying you $9,995, and you made $100,000 in a year. Does that make sense? Hopefully, you're interested in this, and it's starting to spark off the difference between the also-rans and the people in doing it. I've been doing this for 19 years. So I know everything that you need to learn to take your knowledge and know-how and turn it into cash, to turn it into money. All right, good. There she is, Fiona. She's made over $800,000 now, and she is also an award-winning speaker and award-winning entrepreneur through my Professional Speakers Academy. And again, another good female example. All right, good. This is another good female example from the UAE, the United Arab Emirates. This is Dr. Hanan. There's her framework, which she calls Healology, helping people to relieve themselves from gut health issues. This is Danita Patney. She works with people through implementing LinkedIn strategies. Again, you can see how she goes about making money there. Pretty similar in the way that we just saw Fiona doing as well. This is a lovely one. I love this one. This is Danny and Tamara. This is the Bump, Birth and Baby Blueprint. They help people that are helpers of giving birth. So in essence, midwives, how to implement a more natural birthing experience. This one is Sue Patel. She helps implement a HR strategy called the HR Brand Blueprint. This is Peter Marsden. He's an artist. He wanted to help artists to better sell their art. So he created the Artrepreneur Program. You can see what he did with the name there. And again, there we are. He uses exactly the same strategy that I've been teaching. What did he make? He made 93,000 euros in his very first year. Made 800,000 euros in total now since implementing these strategies. So what do you think? Are you excited? If I was able to show you how to craft and create your own unique branded solution, if I then showed you how to create some kind of program or service that you could deliver for thousands on the back of it, and then I showed you how to create a presentation that you could deliver either online or in person that showcases that solution, can you see how you're going to make sales? Can you see how you'd be invited to speak on conferences like this, for example? If you can, just give me a yes, excited, or yes, please, or something like in the chat, so I know that you're there, and I know that you're picking up the ideas here. Brilliant. Loads of yeses, pleases coming through. That's good. Lovely. Wunderbar. So all these folks, thank you guys, keep them coming. All these folks that I've just shown you, so Fiona, Danita there, Dee Patney, the Bump, Birth and Baby, Danny and Tamara, Paul Preston and Caroline Sanderson, all those people are proteges of a very cleverly put together program that takes people that are just starting out or average presenter speakers and turn them into unbelievably world-class performers and presenters, and showing them how to monetize their knowledge and know-how, turn their passion into profit. This is what this program does. So let me tell you about the program now, because I want you to think about it. If I tell you about the program now, then I've still got obviously an hour plus of the presentation to go. So it just allow your mind to have a little ponderous thought about it and see if it's something that you might want to consider doing, because I am, of course, going to be giving a few very special sponsorships today where I'm going to pay a big chunk of your tuition fee. That's what I'm going to do for a few of you today. So just curious, who would like me to sponsor them? so that there's still some skin in the game. You still have a bit, a little bit to invest in yourself, but I'm going to invest a lot of money in you. And what I mean by that is that, I'll part pay a big chunk of your tuition for the program, but I do want something back in return. So let me tell you what I want back in return. It's a fair game, I think. Here's what I want back in return. The biggest marketing tool that I have are the results of my clients. I've just been showing you about 10 to 12 people there and the results that those people have got. So I'll be, look, if long as you allow me to follow up with you in 6 months' time and to look at the results you've got, and then in a year's time, and document like your journey, if I can just showcase, if you allow me to show a slide or two to showcase your starting point where you were and where you ultimately got to in 6 months and a year's time, as long as you do that, that has a real world tangible value to me worth thousands, because when I showcase it and other people see it, they go, well, if she or he can do it, then so can I. So there'll be a discount if you're willing to do that as well. So I'll come back to that later, what that sponsorship deal will be. And I'm just saying, it's not free. There will be an investment. You will be making an investment. It'll be affordable, I promise you that. And I'll pay most of it, if that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll come back to that in a second. All right, good. All right, so let's get going. Let's talk about the actual event. So, or the actual program. So it starts with the core of it is the Speakers University online training. This is an online training program which you can actually have access to today, frankly. We can send you, actually probably won't be today, it'll probably be Monday by the time we actually action it and give you all the details so you can start work on it. And we'll give you lifetime access to it as well, by the way, lifetime access. So it's yours forever. It's incredible. It's shot in a very, very high-end studio with 4 different cameras, some of them with a big sweeping camera, so it looks amazing. But more importantly, I've broken down the skill set of what you need to do step by step to build a 60-minute to 120-minute presentation that makes you money. Like literally, you cannot mess it up because I broke it down to small bite-sized chunks. I then give you an exercise to go away and create that beast. You then come back, we build upon it over time. Does that make sense? And then there's going to be a series of 12 weekly masterclasses as well, which are live at the same time, where you get to answer questions, fill in the gaps in your understanding. So it's brilliant. There's a few other things that go with it as well. So we'll come back to that in a bit. Specifically now, we do have some videos to play around this in a second. So you guys there, have you got one of my first videos to play there that gives them kind of it gives them a look of what the actual video, what the actual program looks like. So I'm looking to the team now that's going to show me that. So this is the video here. I'm not sure if you guys get it. Go. You can show it to me. There we go. So this gives you an idea. That's actually the wrong video. That's actually the second video you're playing there, guys. It's the first video. So that's not the right one. There should be one before. That's the one. Yeah, this is the correct one. That's it. Yeah, you can see this is all the modules that you'll be learning today. If we just jump into here, you can actually hear me. You can hear the content as well. Let's listen. I'll stay quiet. Hey, Andy Harrington here, and welcome to Public Speakers University Online. Now, together with Public Speakers University Live, this gives you a world-class training so you can become a world-class presenter and a world-class speaker. Now, in this program, I have designed it in such a way that not only this will be an educational experience, but also an entertaining one, I hope, but also an engaging one as well. Now, we're going to achieve that by simply remembering that we're only going to get better as a performer, as a speaker, when we actually perform. So I've designed this in such a way that there are many exercises for you to do to ingrain and implement these skills into your performance levels. Now, some of these exercises will be exercises where there'll be content creation, and some of these exercises will be ones where you will be performing and presenting as well. Now, there will always be a setup for the exercise, so you know exactly what to do. And in addition to that, there'll also be printouts so you can grade your own performance too. But what is really important is that you do the exercise. Okay, so I'll just stop there for a minute. You can get the idea. You can even see there's little printouts here. I've even given you an audience to print out. So you print out these audience members and put them on your wall. And so when you do the actual presentation, you've actually got a live audience, if you will, on the wall, a live supportive audience as well, if you like. Okay, so now there are other modules within this program as well. So I want to go through those step by step. I'll be looking at these in more detail today as well. This part of the presentation is called stay and pay positioning. This is about how you begin your presentation, how you start and open your presentation. So let's have a look at this one now. Positioning your subject. Let's play this video here. Actually, this one we're showing you is actually the unique branded solution, but that's okay. We looked at that a minute ago, so let's have a look at that. Remember how you craft and create your UBS, your unique branded solution. These are the videos to watch on that. Let's listen to this. Spencer Lodge, he teaches sales training. And again, we can see his system for doing exactly that. And here he is actually utilizing it. And the first time that Spencer ran his event, having attended Public Speakers University live and basically been drilled by my coaches to get better and better and better, then he runs his first live event in Dubai and makes $34,000 equivalent in money as a result of implementing the advice. But he's gone on from that as well. Here he is now in front of 3,000 people in Dubai. Now his star has risen. Because when you create these, and when people start gravitating towards them and using it, you're going to get noticed. And he went on from that. How about that? How about then having the opportunity to run a podcast because he's got his model and his framework to then interview people like Prince EA, a well-known celebrity on social media. How about then Nick Vujicic? He's the guy with no arms, no legs, and no limits. You might have even seen him on YouTube. And who's the biggest draw of all? Imagine starting a podcast and in less than a year, you're able to interview Tony Robbins, the biggest speaker, the biggest personal development guru probably in the world, and been doing this the longest time. And he got to actually interview him. That's not easy to pull off, but he did it. Anyway, you get the general idea again. And each time in the program, you're able to download each individual exercise that teach you exactly what to do to build your unique branded solution. Okay, so next part is what we call the stress-free speakerism. So in this program, I'm going to teach you how to get into a state of flow. We're going to teach you how to perform and present in a way that means you're totally fearless, but more importantly, you are ultimately being yourself up there on the stage. Let's take a look at this one. There we are. Here's all the individual components you need to be able to work on. Let's dive into this one here, adding congruency with gestures. If you ever Let's take a look. Are asked a question, whether it's Q&A time or whether someone's just spontaneously asked a question mid-flow, then if you're going to answer that question, then I would first go here when they are asking it. As I'm listening to the question, I want to go into this state first while I'm listening, because it shows and demonstrates I'm listening. But also equally, because I put my body into this state of listening, I am actually listening. So I demonstrate a listening and it actually switches on listening better when I do that too. Does that make sense? Which means I'm way more likely to come up with a good answer. Now, also, the other thing that's happening here is, okay, you get the general idea there again. All right, so next module in the training is the Try Summit storytelling system. This is my system for crafting 3 types of story. There are 3 types of story. Write them down. Story number 1 is what we call an expert positioning story, a story that showcases why you do what you do and why you care. Then second type of story are called case study stories. These are stories that demonstrate how you help people. Third type of story is called an anecdotal story. That is to say, a story that helps people understand a learning point or to shift a belief or how they think. Tri-Summit Story. We'll be diving into this in a minute. I'm going to show you in a minute how to go about doing this in my presentation. But this is what's in the program itself. They're in the program. So there's 3 types of story again for Elizabeth. So we've got what we call an EPS, expert positioning story. That's a story that demonstrates why you do what you do and why you care. Then a second type of story is called a case study story that showcases you can actually help people. And the third type of story is called an anecdotal story. That's a story with a learning point attached. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for telling me you need to repeat. No problem. Okay, let's take a look at the Tri-Summit storytelling system within the program. There's that. Dive in here. And there we can see there's loads of videos to watch here, each of these with a learning point and exercises attached. Let's take a look at one of these. Developing a scene with suspense. Here we go. Hey, welcome back. So, did you do it? Did you use the prompt sheet, the cheat sheet to build your first building of your opening scene? Now, we're not yet done with this scene. There's more to do in this act. Step 2 in this act is to build something that makes a story really work. What is it? It's suspense. Suspense. We want to build suspense into our story now. Now, how do you build suspense into a story? All right, good. So, of course, we'll be teaching how to build suspense into a story. I might even cover that a bit later in my presentation today as well. All right. Then we also got something really key. This is called the Motivational Message Multiplier. So the main content of your presentation is where you're teaching. But your teaching must never sound like it's lecture. It has to sound engaging. To do that, we use a system called the Motivational Message Multiplier. And the primary thing that you need to do when you are shifting people's thoughts about what they are capable of achieving is you've got to shift their beliefs. Let's take a look at this particular video, and I'll explain to you, even within as we watch this, some core things of how we shift people's beliefs. So here we are, Motivational Message Multiplier. Jump in here. Click in to change their fate. Now, what have I been doing there? What have I just done? What is this section all about? It's about challenging and changing beliefs, and I chose money as my opportunity to change and challenge some beliefs, just as an example. So how do you do it? How do you do what I just did there? What is the tactic and the technique for doing it? For that, we need to look at another subsystem. It's called Change Their Fate. The Change Their Fate formula. F-A-T-E. It stands for. Okay, so I'll tell you now because with that video, so if you want to write down how you change someone's belief pattern, the F stands for falsity. You've got to first state the false belief. A stands for attack it. And you attack it either with the energy of the warrior, the lover, the sage, or the jester. You attack it with either the energy of the warrior, the lover, the sage, or the jester, depending on what works for you and your personality. Then T of fate, F-A-T, stands for truth. So now you've attacked the belief that's incorrect with one of those energies. You've now got to tell them the truth. Well, what is the truth? What is the better belief? And the E stands for evidence. You must have evidence to back it up. We'll obviously be teaching you more about how to do that in the program itself. All right, so let's move on. One of the other things we found really valuable is that we also want to not only give you an online training that you go at your own pace, we also want to give you a chance to actually live interact with us as well. So for 12 weeks, 3 months, once a week, there's going to be an exclusive university weekly masterclass with one of either me and or one of my top mentors and coaches, and you'll get a chance to go through the core materials again of your presentation. Because make no mistake, we are building a 60 to 90-minute presentation that's going to make you a lot of money. Meaning 6 figures, easy. Some of you will even get to 7 figures using this very single presentation. So we're going to be doing that as well, jumping into our weekly web classes as well. So now, when all those people, all of those folks, Paul Preston and Caroline Sanderson and Danita, all those speakers I showed you earlier that have made a ton of money doing it, they all paid $10,000. That's what their investment was, because they didn't get sponsorship like you're getting. The question is, was it worth it for them? Was it worth the $10,000 investment? Well, let's take a look. So Caroline Sanderson has made a total of $550,000 in total in sales, and Paul Preston made $1.2 million in his first year, and has now made $10 million in total over the last 5 years. So for them, for sure, it was worth it. This is another of my clients. This is Kevin. And this is a recent post from in November, so about 4 months ago. Kevin, nailed it recently, has written £269,000 of training in the last 3 months. That's pretty damn good. Total sales over 1 million for him. Total sales of over 7 million. And this is Sally. Originally, her first ever event, she made 40,000. Her new top sales from one single presentation is actually £800,000. That's pretty damn good, isn't it? All right, now back to my presentation. I'll come back to the sponsorship opportunity for you guys in a short while. So, firstly, are you enjoying it? If you are, Andy says he's really liking this, so thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. The time, all the live calls are all in the evening. An evening that will be timed to your time zone, so you don't need to worry about timings being off. It's all been organized and orchestrated for you, so you don't have to worry about being like 3 o'clock in the morning or anything like that. It won't be the case, so please relax about that. No worries. We work across many time zones, and we have events and web classes that take place across multiple time zones, so we don't need to worry too much. All right, good. Thank you so much. I appreciate your comments. All right, so what I want to get into now is, you can see now at the bottom of the screen there in light blue, we now want to focus on impact, how you perform your presentation. How do you deliver it in a way that's truly graceful, eloquent, and when you're totally in flow? We call that the stress-free speaker system. And I utilized it to help this particular gentleman. His name is Nick James. Let me just say this. I mean, I wasn't going to teach this, but I'll teach it now. There are 3, make these notes, okay? Make notes here. There are 3 voices that I taught Nick, 3 voices. Those are the voice of the sage-like voice. And the sage-like voice is the voice that I'm using now. Can you hear how my voice is climbing, pausing, and falling down the other side? Can you hear how my voice is climbing, pausing, and then falling down the other side? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this voice can be really hypnotic in the way that it works. Can you hear that voice kind of almost cuddling your ears? Can you hear that? Just give me number 3 in the chat box if you can hear that voice. The way that voice rises, pauses, and falls down the other side. The other voice is the voice of your warrior. The warrior is choppy, faster, punchier, and more direct. You've got to make sure when you use the warrior voice, you have a smile on your face. Otherwise, it becomes the dominator and the controller, and that's not good. And the voice we don't hear enough is the voice of your lover. The truth about these voices is they're more than just voices. These are emotional states. And here's why we use them. Because we want to take the audience on a journey. Because when you're in rapport with your audience, if you change your emotional state and you speak authentically from that emotional state, they will feel that same emotional state. So when you speak from this voice, the voice of your lover, can you do it? Can you speak to strangers with your heart wide open? Because you might just help somebody release locked up emotion. That might be the very thing that they need. Remember, people don't come just to hear you speak. They come to have a different experience. They come to be entertained. They come to be moved emotionally. And your ability sometimes to even change the way that you speak. 1 minute you're here with passion like a Tony Robbins, laughter like. And the next minute, you're here. Have you got that range? Have you got that bandwidth? Do you have that emotional capacity? I know you do. But the question is, are you willing to explore how you do that professionally? If you are, you can make a lot of money from your voice. A lot. So I taught that to Nick. Nick used to work in a building society, and he was thought he was too inexperienced, too young. He was very young when he first got involved in personal development because his mum was a top coach for Tony Robbins. So he wanted to follow in his mum's footsteps and become a speaker, presentation. But I taught him how to use his voice. I taught him how to become and resonate with his voice, to have authority and caring in the voice. And what were the results of that? Here's Nick today, creator of the Expert Empires events. His events regularly have 500 plus people in them. He's now made 11 million in sales in total, all because he learned how to use his voice. This is Robert Rowley. I put Robert in because not all of you here have English as your first language. By the way, just type in type in number 7 in the chat box if English is not your first language, please. If English is not your first language, type number 7 into the chat, please. Number 7 in the chat if English is not your first language. Okay, lots of 7s. All right. Well, this is very common. Of course, this is, we're a diverse, group of people. And here's the good news. You don't have to be perfect at English to do this. Robert Rowley thought he needed to be perfect at English. He's from a country called Slovenia, has about 1 million people in it. Not a particularly big country. His presentation was not converting. He thought it was because he didn't speak English very well. He kept his events small because he's only in a small country. But as a result of learning my techniques, as a result of learning how to structure his presentation better and get into more flow, he was able to branch out right across Europe with his presentations instead. And now he became European Speaker of the Year. He became a best-selling author. And to date, he has pulled in 8 million euros in sales. Think that's pretty good? Give me a yes in the chat if you think that's pretty good. So you don't have to be great at English. You just have to learn how to use your talent, your voice, right? That's your instrument. You need to learn how to use it. Okay, wonderful. All right, so now we're going to get a little bit into story time. I know probably Les beforehand I'm assuming would have done a bit on story because Les is great at story too. But I want to break down the whole thing and make it easy and simple for you. So we call this the Tri-Summit Storytelling System. Remember, there's 3 stories you need. Remember that? There are 3 stories you need. Remember? Those were, if you remember, expert positioning story. That's your story. Then you've got case study stories, and finally, anecdotal stories. Regardless of whether you're using one or more of those 3 stories in your presentation, every story has 3 acts. Every story has 3 acts. We call it the Tri-Summit Storytelling System. Make sure you write that down, the Tri-Summit Storytelling System. And here is how it works. 3 acts. And here's the news. You definitely want to make these notes here, guys. Definitely 100%. In essence, there are 3 acts. In Act 1, in Summit number 1, you establish a problem that becomes a conflict. The conflict leads to a loss or a setback. In Act 2, the story opens up in Act 2 where the main characters in the 4 Ds. The 4 Ds are, write them down, they are delay, denial, distraction, and doubt. Tell me now, anytime a human being has a problem or a loss, which is what happens at the end of Act 1, you will always go into a holding pattern of the 4 Ds, delay, denial, distraction, and doubt. That delay, denial, distraction, doubt can last weeks, months, or years. But eventually, those 4 Ds of delay, denial, distraction, and doubt are broken by a catalyst, a catalytic event that literally breaks the holding pattern of delay, denial, distraction, and doubt. And that then becomes the insight. I'll map this to an example you know. Raise your hand, or virtually raise your hand. So let's just give me number 3 in the chat box if you've watched The Lion King. Give me number 3 in the chat box if you know of the story, you've watched the film of The Lion King. 3. Type number 3 in the chat if you've watched The Lion King. All right, and those of you who haven't watched The Lion King will no longer need to watch The Lion King after I've just mapped out the story for you. But there we are. So spoiler coming. Look, if you haven't seen it after a best part of 30 years, you're probably not going to ever see it, so it doesn't matter. All right, so watch this. So what is the problem in Act 1? The problem is Simba has been born. That is actually the problem as far as Scar is concerned. Because now there's a conflict between the 2 brothers, Mufasa and Scar, because Scar will not be king because Simba has been born. So Simba is indeed the problem. And that escalates, that whole conflict escalates over the whole of Act 1 until it reaches a loss at the end of Act 1. What happens at the end of Act 1? Who dies at the end of Act 1? Tell me in the chat. Who dies at the end of Act 1? Come on, if you've seen The Lion King, you should know who dies at the end of Act 1 of The Lion King. Celeste is first up. Well done, Celeste. Yes, you're correct. Mufasa dies at the end of Act 1. Yes? Okay, good. So, Simba is meant to feel responsible for that, isn't he? So what happens? What does he feel straight afterwards? Okay, because he's made to feel responsible. He runs away, he's told never return. He's meant to get killed by the hyenas, but they give up. So, in essence, the 4 Ds, he feels doubtful he can face his past. He's denying he's the king, right? He's delaying going back and telling his family what really happened. And he distracts himself with whom? Pumbaa and Timon act as the distractors in this part, don't they? They distract him from the guilt that he is feeling. Does that make sense? So, recognize that when you have a problem and you go into delay, denial, distraction, and doubt, it's not a mistake. It's just meant to be a holding pattern. Does that make sense? So he's living how? How is he living now? As he lives in the jungle with Pumbaa and Timon, how is he living? Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. So he's not being himself, right? So then a catalyst happens. What happens? Nala finds him, yes? Nala finds him, his childhood love. Simba, is it really you? Simba, oh Simba, can you feel the love tonight? No, enough of that. And anyway, she says, look, Simba, you have to come back. You are the king. Now he tries to hold on to the holding pattern. No, I'm not the king. Maybe I was meant to be, but not anymore. Come on, you got to come back. Scar's take over the prize. He's taken the food. You have to come back. No, I'm not coming back. Oh, you've changed. Yeah, I have. Stop telling me how to live my life. What do you know about me? You know nothing about me. And he walks off in quiet reflection. But she's right. I have to go back. But I can't. I want to go back, but I can't. So he's stuck between the 4Ds and the catalyst. What he needs to get him out of the catalyst is the next one, which is the insight, which is why Rafiki the monkey, jumping up and down the tree, crazy monkey, why are you making such noise? Why, who are you anyway? No, the question is, who are you? Oh, I suppose you know, do you? Yeah, you Mufasa's boy. You knew my father? Correction. I know your father. Sorry to tell you, but he died. No, wrong again. You follow me. You follow old wise Rafiki. I will show him to you. I reveal him to you. Come with me. Come on, guys. I'm really trying for you. Come on, come. Stop. Shh. Look down there. It's not my father. It's just my reflection. No, look harder. You see, he lives in you. The clouds part above and roll up into the shape of Mufasa. Simba, you have forgotten me. And in doing so, you have forgotten yourself. Simba, you are more than that you have become. Simba, you are my son and the one true king. Simba, remember who you are. Remember who you are. Oh. And the penny drops and he realizes. He gets the insight. Because think about it. Where does insight come from? Insight comes from reflection. Reflecting back on your past. Which is why, metaphorically, Disney put it as a reflection in the water. Beautiful. So what I want to train you guys how to do is I'm going to help you build a story that you can craft and create and deliver as good as the Lion King. Because inside of all of us, there's a Lion King story. Does that make sense? And the point is this. Stories follow a predictable pattern. But if you don't know what that predictable pattern is, your story is going to be boring. And everyone's going to hear it coming. They're going to go, oh, this is the story bit. No. You want to captivate your audience and teach them stuff without them even knowing they're being taught. Act 3, resistance. There's always resistance after the insight. Then there's a small win, a medium win, and a bigger win. And then finally, the transformation happens. So I won't go into that in the Lion King, but you saw that Lion King, so you know how that happens as well. So in essence, I'm going to help you build your story doing exactly the same thing. So I did the same thing for Sally here, Sally Lawson. So Sally, her presentation was not converting. In fact, she'd done nine presentations to 500 people each. And she'd only made one sale. It's one sale out of 4,500 people. That's pretty bad. So I taught her. This is her presenting straight after she was trained by me through the Speakers University program you guys are going to get access to. And she made 9 sales in one presentation. So she basically turned it all around. And her price point now went up to $23,000. So today she's made $5.5 million, and she's pretty happy, I can tell you. All right. So we got 2 more pieces to go of my puzzle, and then I'm going to make you, hopefully, an irresistible opportunity to join me and Sally and Paul and all these other amazing people in our Speakers University program. You're going to absolutely love it. So a couple more pieces of the puzzle first, though. All right, you can now see the purple has come in for the imparting wisdom, the motivational message multiplier. So remember, just to remind you that in essence, the entire presentation that takes 60 to 90 minutes, 2 hours that I'm teaching you how to do is going to help you sell something you want to sell. Selling yourself, selling a service, selling some kind of knowledge and know-how that you've got, turning that truly into something that can sell for thousands. Then these are the ingredients. All these ingredients need to be in there. And of course, I'm really trying to stuff a lot in for you guys. Are you finding this kind of content rich? I hope you are. Are you finding this kind of valuable? Like, I don't want to give you empty content. I want you to feel like you're getting something, for your time. I'm fed up of, speakers that deliver a presentation that's so devoid of real value in of itself, and really you feel pitched to the entire time. Does that make sense? There's actually a way of doing it where you are actually pitching almost the entire time, but they don't feel like they're being pitched to the entire time. Does that make sense? Because honestly, I've been pitching you the Speakers University program pretty much the entire time, but it doesn't feel that way because of how it's structured. Does that make sense? So this is the key to it. And this, I'm telling you, it's going to transform everything. If you've done speaking before and you've done okay, oh my God, we're going to accelerate your growth enormously by doing this. And if you're just getting started out, you haven't got to make the mistakes everybody else made. So, okay, but anyway, back to this particular slide. Now, remember, the motivational message multiplier forms the most part of your content. This is where a lot of it's going to be, taking place. So this is really important. So let's dive a bit more into that. I taught the motivational message. I'll give you one tip first, because I want to give you one tip for when you're presenting. And the one tip I want to give you is that when you're teaching content, what comes out of your mouth is either going to be one of 2 things. Okay, there's only 2 things that come out of your mouth. Structurally, there's only 2 things you do. Those are, you make statements or you ask questions. That's it. There's nothing else you do. You either make statements or you ask questions. And the problem with most speakers is that they don't ask enough questions. So what kind of questions should you be asking? And the answer is rhetorical questions. So what is a rhetorical question? Well, that's a good question. Sorry, I'm having fun with you here. So in essence, what you do is you make a statement and then you ask a question about that statement. So you might say something like, let's say something I did early in the presentation. So what you need, if you're going to really succeed, is the serve and sell presentation. Now, what is a serve and sell presentation? A serve and sell presentation is a presentation where you serve people but invite them to do business with you. Right? See what I did there? I made a statement, which was you need to have a serve and sell presentation. But because you don't know what a serve and sell presentation is, I have to ask the questions that I then answer. So I want to be asking what question? What question do I want to ask? What question do I want to ask? I want to ask the question that is in your head. I want to ask the very question that you're thinking in your head in that moment. I ask it and you go, I was thinking that. And then I answer that question. Then your brain settles down and you know you're going to learn. Does that make sense? So here's the truth. Think of this in a different context. Let's say I'm interviewing you on a podcast. And you're an expert in your area, right? So what is my job as the podcast interviewer? My job is to ask you questions that are intelligently asked to draw out of you your genius so that my audience can benefit from your genius. Does that make sense? Now, what's the point I'm making here? Well, when you're presenting, it's exactly the same, except you are both the interviewer and the interviewee. You are both the panel, the podcast owner, and you're the person being interviewed. Now, here's something else. What else? What other thing could you do? What other questions could you ask? Here's the other questions you ask. You want to ask questions that challenge yourself. Because that, again, is what a good podcast guest interview would do. You'd say something and you'd say, but hang on a minute, is that true? What about X, Y, and Z? Right, you want to do the same. Don't always agree with your own content. Sometimes disagree with your own content. So you say something and say, like you might say something, so what you need is a serve and sell presentation. A serve and sell presentation that actually not only serves people, but it invites them to do business with you. But let me ask you a question. Is that any better than a sales presentation? Why have the serve and sell? Why not just give a sales presentation? Why all this extra stuff? Who needs it? Here's why. Because the only people going to sit through a sales presentation are people who are very far down the buying cycle. And the vast majority of people will not want to sit through a sales presentation. However, when the framing of that presentation is going to learn something valuable, and what can be more valuable than beginning to learn how to solve a problem they've got, they are going to sit through that and something else. When you sit through a sales presentation, isn't it true that you're skeptical and your mind is closed? But when you sit through a presentation where you're being taught something, what happens to your mind? It has to open. And so while the mind is open to learn, you're able to subtly influence them to want to buy into what you have as a solution. Does that make sense? Have you got it? Does it make sense? You follow me? Who's with me? If you're with me, if you're getting this, type number 1 in the chat if this makes sense. Type number 1 in the chat box if you're with me and everything I've just said made sense to you. Brilliant. Loads of ones. I'm loving it. Good. All right, so guess what? Here's Michelle Watson. She was an underground train driver, driving the tubes train in London. No time to herself, hardworking mum, making £48,000 a year. That's probably about $60,000, $70,000. A pretty good income, but she's working hard, really hard. As a result of implementing my techniques, she stopped being a train driver, and now she teaches other people how to write their first how-to book using my content. She's now an inspirational mum, award-winning mentor, made $150,000 in her first year, and bought a dream house in Jamaica. Lovely. She's a lovely lady. This is Daniel Konnechner. He's from Poland. If anyone else is from Poland, just type, yes, I'm from Poland in the chat. He was working for Unite, the Union Unite, making 45,000 euros a year. Dreamed of being a speaker, saw Tony Robbins, joined my Speakers University program, and guess what? He's now a full-time motivational speaker. Biggest audience is 3,000 people. He has made 8.5 million euros. He went from earning 45,000 a year to 8.5 million. What could you do? What could you do? My question is, are you truly leveraging all of your talent and ability? Or are you like all of this talent, knowledge, all the pain you've been through? Are you truly serving with that? Have you found a way to serve the masses with that? Or is your influence only small? It's time to change. You think you're here by chance? You're here by choice. And you're guided to be with me at this moment. You and I are guided spirits to be together at this time. We didn't know each other. 90% of you didn't know me before this. But somehow, some way, the universe has conspired together, put us together for a reason. And I hope that reason is seen today by you. I see it. I see you. And I hope today I've lent you some beliefs, because we don't always believe in ourselves. We have impostor syndrome. We think, who am I to? Let me ask you this, who are you not to? You got talent, you got ability, you got knowledge, you got help for other people. Why are you hiding it? Don't hide it. Don't be selfish. Get the focus off of you. Get it onto those that you can serve. And the money will flow to you in ways you never imagined. And it takes 9 months to gestate a baby. You cannot rush this. You can't rush the process of gestating a baby. Stop trying to get rich tomorrow. Focus on what works. And what works today in the information age is presentations. They're around you all the time, but you're on the wrong side. You're too many times in the audience. I want you on the stage. I want you on my stage. Who would like to present on my stage? Who'd like to run onto my stage and be awarded and feel good about that? Right? Just give me a yes in the chat, or me, or whatever you want to say. Perfect. Okay, so were you paying attention? Because I have a question for you. And you're going to get, there's going to be an award. So the question is, you're going to win an award. There's going to be a prize for those who get the question correctly. I'm going to be giving one person who gets the question correctly. What is the name of the system we use to craft stories that sell? What is the name of the system we use to craft stories that sell? Please write the correct answer. Stories that sell. What is the name of the system we use to craft my system, the one that I use? It was in red, if you wanted to, if you're color-coded, right? In red. Big block of red in my big system there. Yeah, loads of people getting it correct. Some people are saying a different system, but most of you are getting this right. I've already made a selection, but if you want to keep on telling me now, I'm going to choose someone in a minute. Right, okay, stop there. Let's scroll backwards, team. There he is, Eric Hines. I'm choosing you today. Eric Hines, there you are. I've written him in. Eric, you are winning an amazing prize. What is the prize you're winning, Eric? It is the following. There, by the way, there it is, the Try Summit storytelling system. That is the correct answer. So congratulations, Eric. You are winning this. You're going to be attending my 2-day virtual 7-figure speaker summit, where every single speaker is going to teach you how they took my system and turned it into a million in revenue. And you're going to learn that. It's a 2-day live and virtual event in a high-end studio. I'll be there as well, speaking and presenting as well. And the speakers coming, they're not multi-speaker, they're not selling you anything. They're purely and only there to teach you how they went about doing it, what they did with their marketing, what they did with their presentation. You are going to get. So Eric, you are in, my man. You are in. You've got it. So well done, Eric. That is coming its way to you. We're going to be giving you all the details on that by Monday latest, the date we're running the event, etc. So you can get yourself all in. So well done, Eric. I can see him. Wow, he says, oh my God, I'm so excited. Well done, Eric. Keep a lid on it, man. Don't overdo it. But yes, well done. We love you, man. Okay, so it's worth 1,795. So that's all yours, man. All good. Okay, next. Last piece of my puzzle. We've got 16 minutes left of my main presentation, and then we're going to be doing a bit of Q&A and stuff. The last part is what most people find pretty difficult, is it says the pitch and grow it. So top left-hand corner now in black, the pitch and grow rich formula. So now this pitch grow rich formula, the key to this, right, is that, well, actually, let's tell you a story first. So Jessen. This is Jessen. His partner was unsure of the change he wanted to make. He had imposter syndrome. He had no previous experience. I taught him my pitch and grow rich formula. I'll teach you it as well. And this is exactly how you put the offer together. This is the key, is how you put the offer together. And this is him. 2 years later, speaking on stage to 1,900 people, being being promoted by Success Resources. They are Tony Robbins's promoter. He was speaking alongside Gary Vaynerchuk. And this is how much he made. He made his share of sales that day, £90,000. 90,000. It was £180,000 in total he made by using his presentation. Half of it went to Success Resources. The other half went to him. So he made £90,012 in total from using the Pitch and Grow Rich formula. I'm sure you'd like to make 90,000. He became UK Speaker of the Year that particular year. He won 1.2 or made 1.2 million in his very first year. He's now a business mentor, and he's actually been featured on television as well. So yeah, he's super happy and super excited. I'm going to do another giveaway. Here's one more giveaway. I hope you are paying attention. Let's go. Another example. What is the name of my entire speaker system? What is the name of my entire speaker system? Just write it in there. Write it in. My entire speaker system. What is it called, please? The entire thing in totality. Oops, there we are. I want to see that there. Oops. Might have given the game away a bit there. What is the name of my... So I pressed the cursor without knowing I was doing it. Done it again. What is the name of my entire speaker system? The entire speaker system. Get it in there. I'm going to select somebody from this audience to get another gift. Yeah, loads of correct answers here. Most of you have now got the entire thing. My entire system is called the Serve and Sell Speaker System, the Serve and Sell Speaker System. And actually, the very first person I'll give this to, if we could just scroll backwards to the very first answer, that was the Serve and Sell. I think it was Irene Ching. Can we go all the way back to the first answer? I think it was Irene Ching. I think she was first out of the gate. Stop. Go back. There she is, the first one, 8:34 p.m. There it is, Irene Ching. You are the winner on this particular occasion, Irene Ching. Congratulations and well done to Irene Ching. Let's give her a digital clap, whatever, however we do that. Congratulations and well done to Irene. So, we've got to tell what you won first, haven't you? Well, here's what you have won. There's the answer, by the way, the Serve and Sell Speaker System. There it is at the top. You can see there. So here's what you've won. You've won Marketing Your Message for Millions. This is another 2-day virtual event. And it's worth $2,000, or $1,995. And for 2 days, me and my marketing super whiz kid son, Josh, who's been marketing for me since he was 15, he's 23 now, runs my business. He and I together, we are going to be training you for 2 days on everything we do in our business to market our message. How do we fill up our virtual events, our webinars, our live events, etc.? What do we do to do that? How do we get on big stages? How do we use YouTube for YouTube advertising, Facebook advertising? How do we use Instagram, LinkedIn, all that stuff that makes our business work? Well, that is what we're doing. It's 2 days. It's an incredible event. Again, it's shot in an amazing studio. And we're coming live. Again, it's live and virtual, so no travel, no time away from family, no hotel bills for you, Irene. All you got to do is turn on the computer at the exact time we tell you to, and you can enjoy the whole experience. So you've just got a training worth $2,000 for completely free, just because you stayed on the ball and you got the correct answer at the right time. So well done, Irene. There we are. Super, super, super well done. Okay, fantastic. So remember, just to go back and recap my entire presentation as a recap. Remember, there are 2 presentations you need, right? 2 presentations. One, a short presentation that gets leads, 3 to 5 minutes. These are called ads primarily, or you can do them organically as well. I'm going to teach you on the Speakers University program. I'm also going to teach you how to run your ads as well, how to produce fantastic adverts. I'm also going to share with you how to create the longer form presentation. It goes for 60, 90 minutes to 2 hours. That's called a serve and sell presentation. Of course, that is what I've been showcasing and showing you here on today's presentation. Obviously, I've had to go pretty quickly to get a smorgasbord of covering all in. Of course, there's so much more depth. And of course, the most important thing is you need to do the exercises. It doesn't take long to do this, right? You can study within 12 weeks from today. By studying just 1.5 to 2 hours a week, you can do more. You could have a fantastic world-class presentation ready to market you and your services within 12 weeks. That will massively increase your reach and your sales without doubt. So that's super exciting. Look, here's what I live for. I live for creating a legacy. These are my kids. I have 6 children altogether. And my goal is to serve them. My goal is to be an inspirational leader for them. I always wanted to look at Dad as a great example of what's possible. That's what really drives me. But equally, at the same time, if I want to leave a legacy, I've got to help strangers. And that is what business is about. Business is about caring so much about what you do and caring so much about other people who are also interested in it, that you actually take care of strangers. Look, people think the currency of business is money. It's not. The currency of business is love. When you love what you do, when you love who you do it for, when those two things come together, there's a completely different resonance in every touch point, in every communication. We must always remember, no matter what the answer, what the question is, that love is the answer. And when you learn to put love at the forefront of what you do, and we call it passion, but really it's love, then your business is going to change. And so is your life, or life. It's about creating community. If you can create community, if you can create your tribe, if you can create your following, then you cannot, I cannot overstress to you. I cannot overstress how much that will change your life. Having that peer group of people that look up to you, that you are supporting and making a difference for, it will help you rise to who you really truly can be. So for me, leaving a legacy means helping strangers. And now these people aren't strangers to me anymore. These are my friends. But these once were people that came to my programs that I helped transform into world-class millionaires. And now I reward them. So every year, internationally, everyone comes to my International Speakers Academy Awards. This is happening in London, in Chelsea. And you don't have to fly. You can watch it all from virtual as well. But we're actually giving out 25 different awards this year. And I hope there'll be some people that are listening in right now that are going to be good enough in the next 3-4 months that are actually going to end up winning some prizes at my award-giving ceremony towards the end of September. It's certainly time to do that. So how would you like to achieve the same? How would you like to become an award-winning speaker? In fact, how would you like to make an extra $100,000 every single year? If you would like to win an award and make 100,000 every single year from now on, minimum, and maybe some of you 7 figures, if you would love that, just type hell yes into the chat. just say hell yes in the chat right now. Yeah, or maybe you could say heaven yes. That might be even better for some of you. Hell yes or heaven yes, whichever makes your fancy. Yeah, there we go. Lots of heavens and hells and heavens aboves. Good. Fantastic. Good to see. All right. So let me see if I can make an offer that is affordable and irresistible. Let me see if I can do something that makes sense. Okay. So let's do that. Let's do that now. All right. So this is what we're going to do together. All right. I'm going to put you into our scholarship. I'm going to give you a scholarship opportunity. Now, my daughter gets scholarship to her private school because she's really good at performing arts. In fact, she's actually performing in the West End of London tomorrow. And they pay 25% of the tuition fee they pay for her, right? So I start to pay 75%, but they pay a big chunk. So I thought I'd do the same, but I'm going to pay an even bigger chunk. I'm going to pay most of it. I'm going to pay a big chunk of your investment. So who wants me to pay a big chunk of your investment, provided that you're willing to let me follow up with you after, say, 6 to 12 months to capture your results and use them in my presentation next year? Who's up for that? Say me, yes, or type 5 in the chat. Say me, yes, or type 5 in the chat if you'd like me to pay a big portion of your tuition, provided that you let me follow you up. Yes? Is that fair? Okay. So I want to be clear. I do want to be clear. I don't want to be misguiding you in any way. Let me be clear. Let me be transparent. Okay? There is an investment for you to make. There is skin in the game for you. But I'm paying most of it and you're paying some of it. Does that make sense? So if you want to do this today, there will be a payment to make today to get in, but it will be nothing like the full tuition fee. Does that make sense? So that's what I'll be doing. All right, let's get into it. So, incredible home study, Speaker University Online. Now, this retails the Speaker University program that I showcased earlier, that I went through the modules and showed you the online training you get lifetime access to. That lifetime access you get to all those modules, that is valued at $2,000. Your investment to get all of it for lifetime access, and we'll give it to you, we'll make sure all the logins come through, certainly by Monday, you'll have all the logins for this. Your investment in totality for that entire home study program is just $495. That's it. So literally, you're paying 25%. I'm paying 75% of that fee for you. This is only for you if you're in the Real Success Network. I've done it for Brian and Gerhard. I know them very well. I've worked with them. I've done events with them live, and I'm willing to do this. So that's your investment, $495. I'm doing everything else, but there's more. There's a lot more. So in addition to that, remember they had the fortnightly web classes, 12 weeks of web classes. Well, they are worth $995, and I'm gifting that to you completely free of any charge. So you're not only getting the online training program where you can go in that high-end offer, at the same time, you're getting the 12 weekly web classes also completely free. All the schedule of that will be given to you on Monday as well. But I'm not stopping there as well. Also including with that, Facebook implementation support group. So you'll be joining our support group, which I'm in. So if you get any question at any time, type it into the Facebook implementation support group, and either me or one of my mentors will be there to answer your questions. So the total value should be $3,485, but you're getting all of it for just $495. All of it for just $495, which is incredible. I mean, even at $3,485, it is incredible value for money, given what I've just shown you, the results people are getting. But there is more. So remember the Transform the Messenger Within that I gave away earlier on in my presentation? Our 2-day virtual event to get your head in the right space? Well, guess what? When you invest today, I'm including that completely free of any charge as well. So now the value of the entire opportunity has gone up to $5,280, but your investment remains at just $495. But I'm not stopping there. So also the 2-day virtual 7-figure speaker summit that I gave away earlier today, that's worth $1,795. Well, guess what? When you invest today at $495, guess what? You get that free as well. So now the in total value of this opportunity is now $7,075 495. But I'm not stopping there, because I'm also going to be gifting you the Marketing Your Message for Millions 2-day virtual, where me and Josh are going to teach you everything you need to learn for 2 days on how to market your message. That is 199 but again, that is also completely free of any charge whatsoever as well. So the total value is now 9,070. It's all yours for just 495 in total. That's it, just 495 all in. So I'm only doing this for 25 people for obvious reasons, since it's pretty damn easy for you to get. So if you want to be in the first 25 people, and I believe there's about 1,000 of you on, if you want to be one of the 25, there is your URL. Go to your URL now. Go to your URL, your whatever your browser is, and type in that full web address, https://www.realsummits.com/AH. So there we are. That is the web address that you need in order to be in the first 25. You have to do it now. That is the way of the world. When you have an offer, if you have a sale, it has a beginning and an end. When you go to Harrods for a sale, any other top retail store, there is a sale that begins on a particular day when they're coming crushing through the doors, and it ends on a particular day as well. And that happens to be today, and only for the first 25 people only. I have never made this opportunity, and I'm saying, and I mean that, never made this opportunity available at this investment opportunity ever. So there it is. It's now been put as a link into the chat for you. So Anne Munro, there is the answer to your question. Where is the link? Anne asks, and there it is. It's there in the chat for you if you need it. If not, it's also there on the slides as well. It remains on my slides at the bottom there as well. This is Miles Grant. He was an experienced coach, but he was homeless. He was living in his friend's basement, would you believe? And was not sure how to change things. He came to my Speakers University program. I gave him an opportunity, and now he teaches coaches how to be a better coach. He's made £320,000 in 3 years. He's married. He's now had a child as well. He's a great dad. And of course, he's really happy. So if you want to be like Miles, then there is your URL, your web address. It is https:// and then www.realsummits.com/AH. All right. So as soon as your registration is complete, then we will be fulfilling on those orders. You can expect an email from us that gives you your login details to the training and the schedule for the 12 events, the 12 weekly web classes that will start in a few weeks from now. So you've got a few weeks of grace of time to wait for those to begin. And Irene's in. Well done, Irene. Congratulations. And also we'll be giving you the dates for the virtual events, which are spread out over the rest of this year. So you've got plenty of time to do it all indeed. This is Sammy Blindell. She was a marketing agency owner. She was burnt out, thinking of giving up. But as a result of using these techniques, she became a best-selling author, award-winning speaker, made $7 million in sales. And if you want to join her, again, very simple. It is www.realsummits.com/AH. All right, this is Stephen Green, former Army soldier, wanted to inspire his local town. And as a result of attending my program, he'd done that. He's now a Guinness World Record holder. He's made $7 million in sales as well, teaching mindset and motivational content. He actually is now the world record holder for running or doing 2 Ironmans back to back with no sleep. And he really inspired. But yeah, he's made $7 million in sales utilizing my system. So when is your journey going to begin is the question. So there we are. That's my offer. I'll go through it one more time with you, and then I'm going to take a few questions from the panelists. So Speakerism Online, it should be $2,000. It's all yours for $495. You get the fortnightly web classes for 12 weeks, 2 hours each. That's 24 hours of